Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
We're rocking and rolling.
Let's do it.
Let's rock and roll. We've got a lot of rocks today.
A lot of rock.
A lot of rocks. Hi, everybody. It's Bryan Eisenberg. I'm here with the Rock Solid Podcast, and I'm here with the Rock Right on Center for Kids.
Absolutely.
In Round Rock, at Round Rock Studio, and we are ready to rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So let's talk about Round Rock, because
Yes.
you've actually been here quite a while. You got here through your service in the Air Force when our airport was actually a Air Force base. Yes, let's talk about that.
Wow, that was a long time ago. I was 17 years old.
Just like 10 years ago. Come on.
It was 1983, and I moved to Austin right after basic training in the Air Force. I was a morale, welfare, and recreation specialist.
That does not surprise me.
Isn't that funny? How did they peg me for that? They knew me for 6 weeks, and they said, "You'll be good at this." Who knew? So,
there's no question that, from a route point of view, you have really inspired me. I became an ambassador to the Round Rock Chamber when you were the chair, and just seeing the way you conducted yourself in the community, how you engaged people, you definitely lift morale.
Well, thank you. I really believe that the community is the heart of everyone's heartbeat, and so it is important for me that our community stay positive and uplifted and continue to support each other. It is not about me. It's not about you. It is about us.
You basically have almost like a mission in life where you're really trying to help people find, whatever their passion is, to find a cause.
Yes.
What inspired that mission?
Well, if you go back a long ways, you'll see that going into the military does have a lot to do with it. My parents traveled, or we moved every 6 months. We were not military. My father worked for Brown and Root. We moved every 6 months, putting up petroleum along the coastline. And that's just what I had to do, was meet somebody new all the time. When I got to junior high, he let me stay put, and he kept moving, which I was grateful for. But that really taught me that no one's going to walk up to me and want to be my friend. If I want to be friends with someone, you got to get out there and meet them. And that's what you find in a community. I grew up, I call Sweeney my home. I lived there for 7 years. I still have my girlfriends from high school, grade 8. We're the best. And, but we can't do it alone. We have to use all the resources in the towns to make it happen. So.
Yeah, and you definitely do that with everything that you do, because you're involved in a lot. I'm curious, if you were going to talk to somebody who's coming into the community or just opening up a business in the community, and they're opening up their doors, how do they engage that community? Because, like you said, you need it. You've seen it. You've been at probably hundreds of ribbon cuttings, all of that.
Right.
What are you telling them?
Well, it really depends on. I think it depends on what their business is. If they're the kind of agency that they're to themselves and they're working like a DOD contract out in somewhere else, they probably don't need the community to know what they're doing. But if they're the kind of people that rely on you and I to support them, don't stay in your office. Find someone in your organization to get out in the community and be the face of your facility. In fact, just yesterday, there was a construction company that was touring where I work. And I said, "Are you a member of the chambers?" And they're like, "No, but I think we ought to be." And I'm like, "You need to work with Round Rock and you need to work with Georgetown." And I'm sure they need to work with all of them, but those are the two that the economic development is so important. And it will reach not just their employees, but all the things that they're building in the community. They're who are bringing people here. So everyone needs to be involved.
Everyone needs to be involved.
Yeah.
I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
You do so much. You're involved in so much. And so I really want to kind of break it down piece by piece. Let's start with rock, because that has, our mutual friend Will Williams has talked about it, what an impact it made on his life.
Yes.
Tell us about it, and, the people who go there, and
Absolutely.
beyond the veterans, Will. But let's just talk about what it is in general.
So the Right On Center for Kids started in 1998. and we borrowed a backyard and we borrowed a horse, and we had 4 little kiddos that Nancy Krennick, the founder, was working with. She's a physical therapist by trade. She worked for Georgetown ISD. She was doing this on the weekend and thought, wow, if these kiddos can break free of their wheelchair and break free of the box that we have put them in and identified them as a kid that has Down syndrome or a kid that has cerebral palsy, where on the back of a horse where they're getting physical therapy or speech therapy, they're actually just a kid.
Yep.
They're one of many children who are on the back of a horse. And what fun is that? When she started that, again, it was just a weekend project. The faces of the children, the faces of the parents, that's what grew Rock to be the size and the organization we are today. One horse, 4 kids. Today we have 41 horses. We have 404 clients that we worked with last year. We sit on 60 amazing acres in the center of Williamson County, right on the cusp of Round Rock and Georgetown, off of County Road 110. Maybe about 13 years ago, they renamed the road Rock Ride Lane. There were no houses out there around us. We were just, in fact, they didn't even bring us water. Now the city of Jonah brings us water, even though we're a Georgetown facility. But we're just really there to serve all the families. We grew from, like I said, that small number to a pretty decent large number. But really what the impact has been is independence. Our mission's to improve independence and life skills, all in partnership with the horse. So fun.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
And it's beyond kids, right? It's veterans and it's adults. Let's talk about what you do with the veterans specifically.
Yeah, so in 2003, we worked with our first adult, Mr. Hoppy, who our first arena was an outdoor arena. Our large covered arena is the Merlin Hoppy Arena. Awesome. He had a stroke. We worked with him to rehab him from not being in a wheelchair all the time to being able to walk again, and then getting some of his speech back after a stroke. And then in 2005, we had a double amputee that we were currently working with, and she was showing remarkable progress. That's when Fort Hood reached out to us. Now, it's now called Fort Cavazos, but back then it was Fort Hood, and they knew about us. But in 2005, we were sitting in a little outdoor arena, no covered arena. We had a porta potty, the whole bit. And they said, can you help us serve veterans? And we have amputees, burns, all the things that our
PTSD,
men and things that we didn't even know were going to happen. And so we worked with their cavalry, their horses, because those horses, the largest cavalry in the United States at Fort Hood. Then we worked with their soldiers to train them to be sidewalkers and horse handlers. And then we partnered with BAMC, the burn unit in San Antonio. Went down, caravanned, had a great session, multiple weeks of healing for these veterans. Did a little documentary. It's out there still on the internet now. It's about a 3 or 4 minute documentary that went nationwide. People wanted to see it. They wanted to have it. Hippotherapy is really what, if you're using physical therapy or speech therapy, the word hippotherapy is something that we would refer to as what they're doing. But we just refer to it as equine-assisted services, and that encompasses everything, no matter what. And so facilities around the nation now are serving veterans because of that little pilot program back in 2005. Now we have 2 humongous covered arenas, Sport Clips Heroes Arena and the Merlin Hoppy Arena.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We talked earlier, you've been through some interesting times, as a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
And a lot of not-for-profits are going through some very interesting times now.
Yes.
You had a situation with COVID where big fundraiser was
Yes.
about to happen. And yeah, fill us in on how you guys are still thriving through all of that.
Rock is very much, we understand that you have to have a housing and you have to have food in your stomach and you have to have clothing. If those things are not in place, you can't come to us. So when COVID happened, we kind of, we stepped back and we looked at what the other nonprofits needed. We made sure, and what the other people needed, not only our clients, but even yourself. If you were struggling, if you got laid off and you needed resources, we knew who was doing what. And I think that's the biggest thing that we could contribute. For about 6 weeks. We shut our doors down because we didn't know what was going on either. Every day we had to go feed the horses a couple times a day. So for our own personal mental health, we had the outlet of the horse.
Yep.
That really solidified all the research that's been done with our veteran program showing a decrease of anxiety and depression. The horse is the conduit for a great life. Well, any pet is, but we use the horse. But when we couldn't have our fundraiser in March of 2020, we had to pivot to something very similar to a podcast. And we were able to still raise right at about $380,000 online that year, which was great for something that nobody really knew what to do. The world has come so far. And as much as we all hate what COVID did to us personally, I sure love that we have Zoom abilities. I was on a Zoom call this morning before I got here. I was on a radio show yesterday. Here we are doing a podcast. All the things that need to happen can happen no matter what's going on in the world. Now, politically, what's going on, if you want to talk about that, we are very fortunate that we don't have any federal grants. Our donor base is individuals. Probably 2/3 of the people who support Rock are personal people, companies. They're not government grants. So we're not in the bind. People support Rock.
And I think that's an important lesson for any entrepreneur, whether it's a not-for-profit or for-profit. Don't bank on one customer.
That's correct.
It's dangerous.
You have to diversify everything. And, the city of Georgetown and Williamson County specifically raised Rock from day one. From day one, we've had the support of all the cities. We actually serve 9 counties worth of people. So having those people that are coming to us from Llano County or Bell County or wherever, they know that when they get here, Williamson County is supporting them. Do we have foundations across the United States that support us? We sure do. We have individuals in New York who support us. It's because the healing of the horse. They connect to the horse. They have a child with cerebral palsy or Down syndrome. They have a loved one that was in the military, a grandmother who's learned to walk again. They know what we're doing. And so they find us. We help them connect with an agency in their hometown as well, so they can so maybe they can get services there, or maybe even donate to the ones that are in their hometown as well.
So if we had a listener who either has a child or a veteran who's struggling for whatever reason, and they were to contact Rock, what would that process look like from the first time they contact until they get going?
So they're different for both children and adults as it is for veterans. So I'll talk about children and adults. We run our programs on the school calendar. So from September through the end of May, we are in session. And let's pretend your child, little Johnny, is on the back of a horse in a class with a group setting Tuesdays at 2:00. That is his class time. He has a horse that is assigned to him. He has a instructor, whether it's a physical therapist or speech and language pathologist or therapeutic riding instructor. And then he has a team of volunteers. He has a horse handler and he has 1 or 2 sidewalkers keeping him on the horse for safety. And then as he progresses, maybe little Johnny doesn't need but 1 sidewalker. And as he grows up older, maybe his independence is improved where he is able to take the reins of the horse for the rest of his life. But some bodies have to be held up. And we work with those people as well. And we physically hold their bodies up on the horse. It's very impactful for the volunteers. I would bet you they would tell you they're getting more than what they're giving. That 37-week process costs them. It is a tuition-based program. It can cost anywhere from $65 to $110 per week. which is why we fundraise a lot. It's not the true cost of the
Yep. The horses and all that.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
everything costs a whole lot more than that, but that's the discounted nonprofit rate of that. And then we also have a big pot of money. So if somebody can't pay the full price that they're assigned, depending on what their class is, then we can work with them to find a pay scale that works for them and works for Rock so that we can stay in business.
It's an important thing.
Yeah, there is a waiting list, and that's the horrible part. Is there's always a waiting list because this is so impactful that they don't want to stop. They want to come year after year. Some kids, this is their sport.
Yep.
On the 16th of March, we'll be competing at the rodeo at Rodeo Austin, and we're really excited. It's called Gold Stirrups.
Yep.
And you can see these kiddos competing for belt buckles and ribbons against other kids and other facilities across the state that will travel here. Now, how do you get off the waiting list? First, you have to get on.
Yep.
And that's a real deterrent to people. They don't want to be on a waiting list. But what happens if, let's say
Good
there's
things come to those who wait, you know.
Absolutely. Let's say that there's 100 people on the waiting list and you're number 64. Well, what if Tuesday at 2:00 opens up because little Johnny is not going to ride anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first person that has the same type diagnosis, so that whether it's a physical therapist or a speech and language pathologist, or if it's therapeutic riding, and let's say that little Johnny was on Tony the Pony and he was 8 years old, right? And so his weight limit works with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're looking for another person that's going to be able to use Tony with the physical therapist. And
So there's
that
a lot of
team.
factors
A lot
that go
of
into it.
factors. So you
Okay.
might be number 64, but first on the list for that time slot.
That makes sense.
So that's how that works. Our veterans, totally different story. Our veterans have paid such a huge price already. We work with Sport Clips Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
We work with the VFW Post 8587 out of Georgetown. Yep. We work with HEB and Embry. We work with the IICF, which is the Insurance Industry Charitable Foundation. They are all giving grants to Rock to pay for those veterans.
Awesome.
So for 24 weeks of classes, a veteran can come to Rock at no cost. Now, again, it's the same cost as it is with a kid, but we are finding funding specifically for their sacrifices they've already made. Now, it doesn't start tomorrow. It starts every 8 weeks. So is there a waiting list? Kind of. You have to wait for the 8 weeks to start up. But the generosity of the community, every Tuesday night at Rock, we have our veterans program, and it's co-ed. And it is a meal that is provided by a donor in the community. So Blue Harvest will bring over their most fancy crab stuffed chicken. It is amazing. Schlotzsky's will pack up beautiful boxes filled with wonderful sandwiches. HEB, Sun City residents will get together and make a potluck. The National Charity League, you name it, they will come out. Even businesses that just want to help us, Smoky Moe's, City Post, all those wonderful places will provide a dinner for about 50 people. Now, those 50 people are not just veterans. It's their spouse. Mm-hmm. It might be also their kids.
Or grandkid.
If they have custody of their grandkids because their child who was a veteran is no longer with us, absolutely. And so they come out and commune with each other. We do have a mental health provider that is there in case they would like to have someone to talk about anything. We do psychoeducational classes once a month. We partner with the Samaritan Center, and we have mental health retreats with the horses and acupuncture and all the fun things. But everything we do revolves around the horse. We look for collaborations that are going to benefit the entire family, because we know that when one person serves, it's the entire family that is really making that ultimate sacrifice. So if you come tomorrow, if you say, hey, I just heard you on the podcast, I want to come next Tuesday, call us and tell us you're coming. Bring your driver's license that says you're a veteran or your DD Form 214. If you can let us know by Monday that you're going to come tomorrow on Tuesday, great. That's what we need to know. And you're going to partner with a horse that day. Now, you're not going to be riding the horse, but you do need to wear closed-toed shoes, not flip-flops like what I have on today. But you need to be prepared to walk alongside of a horse and other veterans that will teach you how to groom and be respectful of the horse. The horse is looking for a leader.
Yep.
If you can lead a horse, you can learn to lead your life again.
Exactly where I wanted to go is this concept of leadership,
Yeah.
because you've been a leader in many aspects in the community, whether it's, on the board of the chamber, the ambassadors, your church, the
Yes.
Rock Ride. You do amazing work with fundraising. Obviously, you were in service as well in the Air Force. Where does, first of all, the energy for all of this come from, but also the leadership skills that you've developed to do all of this?
Well, it comes from a lot of things. Really, it's experience and intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Mother's instinct, I think it really plays a lot into it. First and foremost, I have a great partner that supports me, Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Glenn. Glenn allows me to go and do the things. And when I say allows me, I'm going to do them regardless. But he's the kind of partner that encourages me to be who I really am. And this is who I am. And Nancy Krennick, my boss,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? If she wanted to, she could say, Karah, you work for Rock. Sit here and raise money for Rock. But that's not who we are. We support our families. And in order for me to best support a child with Down syndrome and her journey at Rock, I need to know other agencies that her family can use as resources. I've been in Round Rock since 1996.
You've had your kids grow up here?
The First United Methodist Church, that is my home. My family has been a member of this church for almost 30 years now. That was not a building there when I moved here. So it's about people planning for the future. And what our church did to plan for the future, I've done to plan for the future of Rock. Luckily, Nancy allows me to do that. It does take a lot of time away, and I have the personality that I'm going to go home and still keep working. So when the day's over in 8 hours, I'm not done. Now, my kids are all grown. I have grandchildren. I even have great-grandchildren. But that allows me to really work all I want to work. Right now, I'm at a point in my life where I love what I do. There's a lot of people who don't have a fun job. I would say get a fun job. Get a fun job. If you can't love what you're doing, find something else. But I took a lot of its experience. I worked for the corporate world until 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah. Corporate world. After the military, I went into the corporate world. And in 2010, I left working at a payphone company where I drove around from Waco to San Antonio repairing payphones for a living. Super fun, but not really. But at that point, I said, I really want to just do something. There was a horrible hurricane that came through and tore up a bunch of homes right here in Round Rock. Over 600 homes needed repairs. A group of us from our church had gone to Nicaragua and Honduras and done water wells and rebuilding in Africa. It was just something I enjoyed. So I worked to rebuild all the houses in Williamson County for a full year. I didn't even have a job. I just was unemployed and doing volunteer work, and it was amazing. And then I found Austin Community College.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a program there through the nonprofit Austin Studies where you can learn about grant writing and volunteer coordination and nonprofit and leadership skills and how to become an effective fundraiser and marketing and communications. And my GI Bill paid for all of that.
Awesome.
I couldn't believe it. It was probably $20,000 worth of education in 1 year that just totally put me on the platform of, I don't want a corporate job anymore. I want to work really where I feel good about it. Now, is the pay scale different? Sure is. But I was at a point in my life where that was okay.
But more than that, just, obviously the impact that you make in the community is just unparalleled. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, it's super fun. And thanks.
To kind of wrap up, you've been here a long time. You've seen the community grow. You've seen the leadership of Round Rock, who's obviously also been very forward thinking about growth.
Yes.
what are some of your favorite things about Round Rock?
Here's what I love about Round Rock and the political scheme of Round Rock is all of our city council members, our mayor, they are just people. That's all they are.
Mm-hmm.
They happen to enjoy and love the city of Round Rock, and so they want the betterment for that. They're not here to tell you, hey, you have to do it this way. They're here to listen to us, get our opinions on what we want. There's lots of places to give your opinion and respectfully give your opinion, and then make the changes. I love to block walk with those because I always believe that it's neither red or blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's purple, because not everything I'm going to like about anyone. But if I can sit down with you, find out where you're going, how I want to get there with you, that's what needs to happen. I think that everyone in the city needs to sit down and understand who is making these decisions and how they can best help them, because this is our community. The Rab family got here a long time ago in the 60s. They set up with several other families, the McLeods, the Hasters. They figured out what they thought that the community ought to look like. Okay, well, now it's our turn.
Yep.
What should the community look like in another 60 years?
Pretty well said. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I know obviously you're all over the place, but if somebody wanted to get in touch with you
Yeah.
and find out more about Rock, how would they track you down?
Oh, I mean, first off, Facebook's my friend. I love Facebook. I run a little networking group called Tiara Tuesday Wilco Style, and it's for women. We do wear a tiara, and we help each other keep our crowns on straight. We meet the last Tuesday of every month somewhere in Williamson County, typically in Georgetown, because that's where I'm getting off work and running.
Mm-hmm.
But I started that with a couple of girlfriends, Stephanie Williams out at Embry Group
Mm-hmm.
and Carol Sandlin over at Merrill Lynch. And we just have about 500 women that want to make things
awesome.
happen. But you can also call me. You can find my phone number on Facebook. You can Google me. Rock Ride, you can call me there. Email me, Karah@rockride.org. I'll answer. I would love to show you around Rock. If you have another nonprofit, I mentor with a lot of development directors, so I'm happy to help you grow your business as well. Anyone I can give a piece of advice to, I've got something to share. May not be what you want, but I'll tell you.
Karah, you have an opinion?
Yeah, I do. But it's always with love.
It always is with love. I'm actually just surprised that we haven't taken a selfie in all this time because I know.
My phone's over there.
Okay.
We could get it in
We'll
a
have
minute.
to do it afterwards.
But we're not going to call it a selfie. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it an ussie, because again, this is not
us.
about myself or yourself. It's about us. And if we could just make this whole world a better place by being about us and the journey we're all on together, I think the whole world would be a better place.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.